She was just a sex crazed maniac. Like she could not have sex enough in every kind of way that you could imagine.
You have her number?
I'm sure I do.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. I'm Marcus, and today I have somebody filling in for Amy. She was a guest on episode 9, and I'll tell you what, that episode got more comments and feedback than any episode I've had so far. So welcome, Angie.
Hello.
Welcome back, and thank you for stepping in and co-hosting this episode.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So, how's it been going since I've seen you a couple weeks ago?
It's been really good. It's nice. The weather's finally cooling off. So
love this
get
time
out
of
and
year.
do more stuff.
Love it.
Right.
Yeah. Is your profile active right now?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. I mean, it's still there. But
I thought I saw it was active.
No. Well, I mean, I'm not. If you were to look me up in your messages, like active in that way, yes, but you can't see me in the actual like search function.
Oh.
I don't show up as an available.
Gotcha.
Girl right now.
So why are you not active? You got plenty going on?
Yeah, my books are kind of full.
Your books are full? Like, how many are you juggling
my dance
now?
card is full.
You're fulfilled with the men that you have?
I am for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping you busy. I mean, you don't have a ton of time.
No.
Or do you?
No, I mean, between business and being mom, I'm a little bit busy, but I see people a few nights a week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
keep them in the rotation.
Right. And I believe one of the guys that you see is pretty interested in our show now.
Yeah.
I got a message from
is
him.
like a super fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He really loves it. So he wants to come and chit chat with us.
And you told me he wished this would have been around when he first started.
Yeah. He said that he learned so much information just going through all the podcasts and listening to them that it would have saved him a lot of time and trouble.
Yeah, well, that is a big reason why I started the podcast, is because through my hard knocks and experience, I thought it would really benefit other men and women who want to experience this lifestyle, and maybe it's for them, maybe it's not, but maybe they can avoid some mistakes that we made in the beginning. The mistakes were actually kind of fun, though. That kind of made me who I am today in this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I regret some of those mistakes.
I think for me, the mistakes on my end mostly were feeling like initially I had a hard time asking for what I felt like I was worth reciprocating way, as being part of a arrangement.
So you're talking about discussing the arrangement terms?
Yes.
That's so tough. So many people have a hard time with that. Mm-hmm. I know Amy struggles with that mightily, and she never knows. She even told me a conversation that you guys had where like 15 minutes later you said, okay, you still haven't answered my question about what kind of terms would you like?
Yeah. Like I've learned to be very direct. And what's interesting is I've learned that actually people appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So I thought I was like being offensive. And in reality, like people want to know what you want, but not asking can get you into deep water.
Right.
So,
So how do you approach it now that you're 2 years into this?
I'm just very direct.
Are you a little more direct now?
Yes. And I always word it in a way of like, because everyone's like, okay, what are you looking for in an arrangement? And I'm very clear. Connection, chemistry is priority to me. I want to feel like we're best friends with mutual benefits. And I always clarify mutual benefits because you'd be surprised at how many people are on this site and they just don't think, like they think of it as a dating site. Mm-hmm. They don't really think of it necessarily as an arrangement site. So you kind of have to clarify that and get that out of the way first. And then usually they'll counter back, yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect. And you go into whether you do more of like a PPM type of arrangement, if they're looking to give gifts and vacations, if they're looking, for a monthly arrangement. There's so many different types.
Yeah, it's difficult on our end too, because a lot of the women want to discuss that right up front, but I haven't even met them yet. And I might be willing to do a higher arrangement with a certain person than another once I meet them and I find out that we have some chemistry, that we are our time compatibility meshes there, and there's so many factors. But then I'll have somebody throw out a number, and I'll think, no, I'll pass, when I'm actually willing to pay that number and have an arrangement like that. But it just, for some reason, I feel more comfortable meeting them before I agree. Well, I guess that's what it is. They push me to agree to that number.
Right.
So you show up and then you realize, I don't think this person's like in that number range. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's hard.
What do you say whenever you meet somebody and you just decide that, they're just not your cup of tea? Mm-hmm. How do you handle that type of a situation?
When it's just like a first meet and greet, mm-hmm. I'm usually just really cordial, and we'll have drinks or dinner. I try, and I've discussed this in prior episodes, I used to have a lot of dinners with people, and then I find I got myself stuck for an hour or two with somebody I really wasn't interested in, because almost immediately when they walked up, I'm like, oh, I think I made a mistake here. Mm-hmm. So now I do more coffee or happy hour or drinks like that, and I really enjoy that. Matter of fact, recently I did like Postinos, and we just had some wine and bruschetta, and that was perfect.
Postinos is perfect.
Isn't that great? That's
But don't say that out loud, because then everybody will scouting out the meetups at Postinos. Well, let me back up so we can answer the question of, I definitely prefer meeting. Like, I would prefer to talk terms in person, mm-hmm. because if we don't click well, then the rest of it's irrelevant, right? And there are some times I meet somebody and like we end up just being friends or whatnot. But I always prefer to meet for like a coffee or a quick drink instead of like a sit down dinner.
Yeah.
And one of the things too, I don't expect the guys to pay me for a meet and greet. But
right.
Apparently a lot of girls expect to have compensation for just doing a meet and greet, right?
Mm-hmm. I've run into that. I don't like doing it because, again, there's so many unknowns. Mm-hmm. And, I understand their time is valuable, but so is mine. And if I show up and they're not what I'm looking for, and a lot of times they just misrepresent themselves.
Right.
We've talked about that in past episodes. Rarely do they ever show up and look like their picture.
Except
they
for
look,
me, right?
Yeah. No, you were very close. But pictures are so easily manipulated these days with all the filters and the angles that they take them at. And then when they show up in person, they're a little rougher usually.
Right. There's no photo filter in real life. So
right. So sometimes I'm a little bit catfished when I get there, and it's a little annoying. So for me to have to fork out funds for somebody just to show up, I don't like that. I don't usually agree to that. Have I done it? Yes. But usually I do that when that person shows up, they make a genuine effort, and I just feel like, hey, you know what? I really appreciate you showing up. We had a great conversation. Maybe this is not going to work, but I do want to give you something for your time. And I'll give them a little token just for gas money and time. And because I really understand people it's a lot of work. You got to get ready. You got to make time in your schedule. You've got to drive. Sometimes there's traffic. That's the tough part. But it's like an interview for a job. I mean, you do that for a job.
But they don't pay you for the interview.
They don't pay you for the interview and a job.
I think I have been paid or gifted meet and greets, but never because I've asked. Always just because it was, oh, hey, here, thank you. Or I think sometimes like for the man, that almost secures his interest in you. Mm-hmm. Like, I am very serious. I really want to see you again, and this is kind of my way
my
of
down payment to hold this.
It's the layaway plan.
Yeah.
But most of the time when I go on a meet and greet, they don't let me buy anyway. I'm already getting my coffee or my drinks or my snack or whatever,
as it should be, right?
Paid for. So I just don't feel like it's necessary. Most of the time they'll offer if I'm driving like quite a ways, and that's understandable, I suppose. They want to feel like they compensate you for your gas or whatever. But
now, has anybody offered to send you a car, like an Uber or Lyft?
Oh yeah.
And do you accept that? What are your thoughts on that? I know Amy says, no, I'll take my own car because she wants a getaway vehicle.
That's what I was going to say. I will either initially get my own Uber or drive my car for a first meet and greet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no. Mm-mm. But if it's somebody who, I've met before and then they want to send me a car, that's fine. But not on a first time.
So I knew this guy who drove for Uber, and I asked him to pick up. I said, hey, I won't book it through the app, but I'll go ahead and pay you because I know you're driving Uber tonight. Can you go pick up my date and bring her to the comedy club or the restaurant or wherever we're meeting? And damned if he didn't hit on her.
Oh, I have been asked out on more dates in an Uber
Yeah.
than anywhere else. Like, if you just want to date people, just Uber ride share.
Like he not once, but more than once, he's hit on my dates, and
Yeah.
they've told me about it. They go, "Hey, your buddy, he asked for my number." And I was like, "What the fuck? Are you serious?"
A lot. Yeah.
Anyway, he's not much of a friend anymore. I couldn't trust him.
I mean, come on. You can't blame a guy for shooting a shot.
But you know what? He would text me. He's like, hey, I just picked her up. Whoa, you got a hot one tonight.
I mean, exactly, right? Can you blame him?
Yeah.
Can you blame him? And you go.
He just didn't have any game.
I stalk you a little bit.
You stalk me?
Yeah, because we have mutual
right.
social media.
Yeah.
You do have some cute girls in your rotation, by the way.
Yeah.
And you're going to some nice places there,
enjoy
kid.
Beautiful women, and I enjoy good experiences. And there's so many on the site. It's like a buffet. I hate to say it.
It is for me too. It's interesting because on the girls' side, it is exactly the same though. Like I went for a meet and greet last night, and I had a wonderful time. But when I met the individual at the restaurant, like he was easily 20 years older than what he looked like in his pictures. Now, granted, he was a very attractive 20 years older, thankfully, but he was not like. In fact, it was such a difference when I walked in and I saw him sitting at the table. Mm-hmm. I paused for a minute and waited for him to look up to acknowledge that I was getting ready to sit with the right person because it was just such a difference.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
All right. So how much older was he than his pictures?
I would say in his pictures he looked like he was early 50s. But when I met him, he had to be upper 60s, like I don't want to be rude and say early 70s, but I mean, he was considerably older.
Yeah.
But very fit and active and good looking for his age, just not what he looked like in his pictures.
So how was the tone? Did that set a certain tone of the whole meet and greet? Or, I mean, were you a little annoyed or you were like, oh, well, or how did that go for you?
No, because I mean, again, he was very attractive even for his age and very nice. And, I think the problem, like, will we see each other? Probably not. I think we're worlds apart and like a lot of views and things. I felt like I was having a business dinner and then, people knew him there. So they kept stopping and they would talk and I would just feel so out of place. And
so was this just drinks and appetizers or what?
It was like a small meal.
Okay.
And a single glass of wine. So not super time involved. And again, it was lovely conversation, but it felt like it felt like I was talking to like my older uncle, I guess. So it was just not my normal.
So you get bombarded with messages. Your profile's pretty sexy.
Is it?
Well, yeah. I mean,
what makes a sexy profile?
I think you put like a nice picture of your ass in
My
shorts
derriere.
or something. Yeah. I mean, something that kind of gets the eye, catches the eye. Because when you're going through profiles, it's usually facial pictures. And then you see this cute little ass in these jean shorts. You're like, wonder what's on the other side of that.
So I play with that.
You find that's been pretty successful for you.
Yeah, I always go back to the booty shot. It's always hands down the winner. Like guys love a nice ass. They're like, I don't care what your face looks like. I just want to know that is real. So it's definitely the winner. And I also like that my face isn't front, facing like on the site. I feel like there's a little bit of privacy there because then they have to ask me to see my pictures, so I get to choose.
You have those in the in the private folder.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't hide like what I look like or anything. Just, I don't know, that particular picture
Just seems to grab attention.
I wonder sometimes like how long I can use it, because you get on there and you see the same people after a while, right? And you're like,
Yeah, you know what though? It turns over pretty quick. Like I let my membership expire at the end of September, and here it is getting towards the end of October. And I just went on there. Somebody had left me a message, and I can't read them, but I still like to see who's leaving me messages. And I looked at all I did the search on who's online right now, and it was a whole new crop of people just in the last 3 weeks.
Really?
Now I'll see.
Even girls?
Yeah, I'll see. Well, yeah, that's all I look at.
college is back in.
But it's like a whole new crop. Yeah. Now a lot of them are fake profiles that they just set them up that day, and they're trying. There's some scammers. Those come and go, and there's just part of the internet, the web world.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't believe like all the new faces on there.
What attracts you to a profile? I want to know from like the man's perspective.
You know,
what
that's
is
funny
it?
because I was just about to ask you the same thing. Like because you get so many messages, what does it for you in a profile? How do you weed out all these messages, and who do you decide to actually meet in person?
The only people I talk to are people who ask me questions before they request my private photos.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they request or sometimes I'll toy with them and I'll be like, you didn't read my profile.
You know what, men? That's a very good tip because she's not the only one. That's very common. So make sure you say hello or some comment before you click on, or while you're clicking on request private photos.
Right. And I think you had mentioned that sometimes it's not intentional from the men. Sometimes you're just so many faces to weed through. It's almost like kind of like click, click, click.
Yeah.
It's the people, if you send me a paragraph that looks like and feels like it's been copy and pasted, please do not copy and paste and send the same paragraph. Sometimes people won't realize they have contacted me at like a few months
and you
prior,
get the same exact
and then I get the
message?
same one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we are already talking, and they're like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, there's a sense of like,
I've done that. Guilty. I've done that.
do you copy and paste?
No, I actually come up with kind of a new one, but for that day, yes, I will copy that message and probably send it to 10 or 12, 15 profiles. That exact same message.
We know.
I know, but what else am I going to say? Now, sometimes when I do read their profile, I'll stick in a little snippet of, hey, I just read your profile, and I think I like comedy clubs too. I see that you like that.
That's so 48 laws of power.
So what?
The 48 laws of power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Wait, expand on that.
You find little things.
Oh, right,
And so
right.
you specifically bring up those small things to create.
Yeah,
it's
so
mirroring.
Yeah,
essentially.
mirror. Yeah, exactly. So I'll have
mirroring
some basic things I say, which I don't want to keep typing it out every single time, and then I'll try to throw in a little snippet.
Okay, I've never copied and pasted. I'm just
Well, good
I'm
for
just
you.
going to put it out there right now. So no, I judge you.
Damn you.
No, but like message, you can tell when there's a genuine hi, how are you? Don't come off, well, or do if you want, if that's what you're looking for. If you come off like immediately like sexual and just, in an almost rude way to me, I'm not going to respond.
Although your picture kind of goes that direction.
My picture does, but my profile does not. So if you've done
Oh, okay.
if you've done your due diligence and actually read my profile, that's kind of like the caveat, right? Like you can be sexy and still have brains and want to chat.
Right.
But if you've read my profile, you know that I'm looking for more than just that, I think. I don't know. I think so. So I'm just shoot me a sentence like, hey, how is your Tuesday going? I see that you enjoy this. Would you? And I like to get to the meet and greet part pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't like to waste my time messaging back and forth because I've done that for weeks with somebody, and then you show up and you're like, this isn't going to work, and I just wasted weeks of messaging.
Yeah. If in your profile, like every picture is you shirtless in the mirror with a towel hanging just low enough to cover everything, that's a turnoff to me.
All right, man, listen up.
I don't mind a good body pic or two, but men are not women and women are not men. Like we kind of look for different things.
Right.
I know men don't like it when women filter their photos, but we like it even less when men do. Like, you men are not supposed to use filters, okay? You're just supposed to have your rugged handsomeness in all of its glory for the world to see.
Mm-hmm. So there's
Don't
men out
filter.
there filtering photos?
So much.
Really?
Oh, so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't do that.
Please do not send us dick pics. We don't want to see it. If we don't ask, don't send.
You know what's funny is my ex-girlfriend arrangement from 2.5 years. She encourages that.
Really?
Yeah, she enjoys those.
Oh, okay.
But
See, everyone?
99% of the other women I talk to are like, please stop.
Yeah, I mean, for
She just
me,
must be the one percenter. I don't know.
but hey, everybody has their thing.
Yeah.
So I'm good for her. But I have like, don't ask, don't send. Most of the time, men are gentlemen, kind of. Most of the time, I would say, and they do ask. I'll usually say yes if they ask.
Wait, they ask you what?
If they can send a pic.
Oh, they ask
if we're
you,
talking and they're like, hey, do
Hey,
you
do
want to
you
see
mind?
a pic? I will oblige and say yes, not because I honestly want to see it,
Yeah.
but I know that they want to feel like I'm looking at that picture and getting so turned on by their cock that they are just like, and so like I'll give it to them. Like, oh my gosh, yes.
Now, I hear this from so many women that say, please just stop with that. But men continue to do it. And it's I think it's very well known that women, that's not what they're wanting
No.
for the most part. And they'll send it to them on Facebook Messenger. They'll send them to them in all forms of social media. And I don't know why men keep doing this.
I think that men just get into that mode in their head and they're turned on. And obviously they're not sending soft dick pics, right? They're already like, so if they're taking it right then, they're already kind of in that like sexually minded, fueled thing. So they're like, they want to share that. Like, yeah, see how good I look. I want you to see it too. And we don't really want to see it. But
I mean,
just save it for in person.
Right,
Like,
right.
I mean, just save it. But, you know,
Yeah.
men are visual. So I think sometimes we assume people want what we want. And men want pictures, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Seems like it.
I think they just assume women do too. And some women do. So maybe they're getting mixed signals from girls. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a whole different world out there. Like, some girls are animals.
Meaning what?
Like, there are girls that are just, I had one girl that I had met from the site.
Wait, you met a girl?
I've met several girls from the site.
So you're looking at women's profiles or they're messaging you?
No. We usually meet whenever one of our daddies have requested a threesome.
Oh, gotcha.
So we'll meet in person.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's typically how-
I gotcha.
She was just a sex crazed maniac. Like, she could not have sex enough in every kind of way that you could imagine.
You have her number?
I'm sure I do. But I mean, she was just built different, like, in that way, super sexual. So like, she would have been the girl. And I think there are women out there. So I think, men are just, they're just taking their chance and seeing, what they can get. Like, hey.
So are you pretty open to that when men, I guess you'd have to know that guy pretty well by then, or no?
To have a threesome?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. You tell me.
I don't have to know the guy very well to have a threesome.
Yeah.
I am really picky when it comes to my girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Girls are, I don't know. It's different. Like, I'm very finicky with what I'm attracted to in a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, as long as she's cute and nice and we click well. I'm very dominant with women.
Yeah.
So I don't want someone that's, too dominant. But
There's got to be one dominant and one submissive, somewhat. Right?
always.
Always. I was married for 16 years, and then before that, I didn't really have much of a dating life. But I never had a threesome until I got on the site, and it was so awkward.
Was
for me.
it?
Yeah. It was just, well, both of them were really tall.
Okay.
One of them was like 5'9", the other one was 5'11".
Okay.
So it was just, and I'm just a little over 5'9". So I'm kind of having a hard time getting in positions where it
Right.
worked.
Yeah.
So it was just really awkward, and I was out of my element. We did that a couple times, and then I had a threesome with one other time with a couple girls, and I don't know. Matter of fact, well, one of the girls who set it up, she asked, if I was like free that weekend or whatever, and I was. I said, can we just? It could be just us two instead of the other one involved.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, because I just felt more comfortable one-on-one.
Do you still?
I haven't had a threesome since. Yeah.
Why?
I haven't really had the opportunity or taken the opportunity since.
Yeah.
Just because I've kind of been there and done that. Maybe I just haven't had the right ones. I don't know.
I'm going to go with that response.
Okay.
I think that's the right response.
Yeah, maybe it's I just haven't had the right experiences. The other two, the first ones were great, like the two tall girls. I mean, they were fantastic girls, but they were just, the way they were built just didn't mesh with me.
Right.
Like I just didn't fit in the spots I was supposed to fit. Yeah.
like-
Yeah. So they had really long legs. So we're trying to maneuver around on the bed, and their legs are so long, and I'm like, you're gonna have to like squat lower. I can't get up that high because my legs are a little shorter. Anyway, it was just awkward. I didn't know how to.
I think it would be interesting to be a man in a threesome because you would feel like you have the responsibility of them pleasing two people, right? Because men typically want to please. And I think when you're the females in the threesome, it actually takes like some of the work off of you.
Oh yeah,
You get to share the the job.
Right.
So I could see how for a man it would be a little bit more of an intimidating experience with two women, maybe. Have you done any? You've not done any 2 men, 1 girl?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Not yet, or not at all.
Actually, Amy talked about setting that up with her ex-fiance. He was supposed to be in town. She had actually talked to him about doing that, but it never happened. He never came to town, so.
Not opposed, just haven't done it.
Just haven't done it. No, but that would be a new experience for me too, which I don't know. I'd probably have to watch some videos to get some ideas on how that's supposed to go.
I've had threesomes with 2 guys, 1 girl.
Oh, yeah?
And actually, they're some of my most enjoyable.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about being a woman and just being like the center of the attention like that.
Oh, I could see where that
But
would
it's
be.
so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't think that I was going to like it. That was so far outside of my comfort zone.
Now,
and so taboo.
Yeah. Was it was somebody you met on the site?
Yes.
Yeah. And then he set up the other guy, or it was 2 guys off the site?
No, it was his friend.
It was his friend.
Yeah.
And how did he approach you with that?
Oh, he just asked.
And then you were like, and you'd never done it.
I hadn't.
So what was your response? Like,
Yes.
I'm game. Well, let's try it.
Yeah. I was so nervous though. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not going to pretend like
Yeah.
I was like going, it definitely took, a few shots of tequila and
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
I was really nervous at first, but afterwards, looking back, it was such a liberating experience
Really?
sexually. Yeah, to be desired by 2 men at one
the center
time
of
and to be
attention.
that center of attention and to be the one just receiving instead of just giving and kind of like fawned over. It was very liberating.
So a lot of people are in my boat, I think, where they haven't done that or it's just been really awkward. What would be your suggestions? Like they should try it or
I mean,
come out of the box a little bit?
I don't think it hurts to try anything. If you don't like it, don't do it again. But you might find that you really like it. Or at least there maybe are parts of it that you really like, that you want to put into play later on. Or I'm very open and love to explore. So even if things really push me outside of my comfort zone, I try not to say no. Because you don't know until you try it. And I realize that so many things that in my head feel uncomfortable with isn't necessarily because I don't want to try it. It's because I have been told that having 2 men together in close proximity like that is weird. Or, especially coming from my upbringing with church and whatnot. Especially with my religious background and whatnot, I've been told like certain scenarios are definitely wrong. And I was like, so I really try to like push through that and push past that so I can have my own experiences and make up my own mind about what I like and what I don't like.
Gotcha.
So
let me ask you this. Once you kind of begin an arrangement, you've met somebody and you have 2 or 3 or 7 guys that you're balancing right now.
yeah. Go on.
What are fun dating ideas for now? Do you treat it like almost like a regular type dating situation that you would meet somebody off of any other traditional dating site? Are you going out to just dinners and then back to his place, or what's going on here?
Sometimes I tend to like to skip the dinners and just have fun.
Oh, okay.
I mean, a lot of times we only get a few hours together.
Yeah,
so I really want that time. Now we might like have a few drinks and really sit and talk and, like when we're together.
Okay.
But we don't always go out. I'm not opposed to it. There are some people that like I'll go out to dinner with and we have that type of, an arrangement. A lot of it depends on if they have other relationships, and
that's true.
how private they have to be.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
Whether we can go out to dinner or whatnot. I have been having a lot of people lately want to fly me.
Really?
To different places.
And they haven't met you yet?
But I haven't met them. And
now,
so,
do you guys do any FaceTime or anything like that? So
yeah, I haven't said yes to any of those proposals yet. But yeah, there would definitely have to be a lot of FaceTiming, a lot of phone chatting, a lot of really getting comfortable and secure with each other. I'm just not sure how I would feel about flying out of state to meet somebody that I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there are people who are fine with it, but
I mean, 22 years ago, I'd met somebody on a dating site. Believe it or not, the internet's actually not that old. It's probably only 26, 27 years old. But about 22 or 3 years ago, I did meet somebody on the internet from like Colorado, and I flew them out. And it was one of those things. And we talked on the phone, but this was before FaceTime and all that stuff. This was back in the late 90s. And then as soon as she got off the plane and I picked her up at the airport, I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, it was just, so it was a very long weekend.
yeah.
Because I'd flown her out for the weekend. I mean, she ended up being a nice girl, but it was instantly a no from me.
And sometimes no matter how much you video chat or how much you talk, like when you meet that person in real life, like the energy is just different, or like it's just different, right? So I haven't wanted to take that chance yet. The idea of traveling is nice too. Like if one of my sugar daddies was like, hey, I want to go to whatever place for a couple of days. It's just for me running a business and with kids, it's like trying to block off that time and like make it work around my schedule. But I wish that I could sometimes, just.
Now, a few years ago, I did fly 2 separate girls to Vegas. I was in Vegas during the World Series of poker playing, and we'd been chatting for about 6 months. I talked about this on an earlier episode, but I flew somebody to Vegas, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like, she was adorable and very sweet, very good looking. We had a great time until the Tito's and soda kicked in.
Oh.
Then it got to be an absolute nightmare shit show fest.
Oh, did it really?
Oh, then I'm carrying her to her car, or carrying her to
ouch.
the hotel room, and where she's passed out. you know? And
how do you do that? What does it look like? I think that it's probably just lack of experience on my part, because I don't know how to navigate the arrangement part of flying somewhere, right? Because I'm not here, so I'm not able to run my business or make income. So I have to account for that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go well, and there's just so many variables that I just haven't.
Right.
I haven't.
Interestingly, neither one of those girls that I flew to Vegas did we ever discuss terms before they got there. I definitely helped them financially after the trip, but we never even talked about it. And actually, they were different amounts for each one too.
How do you decide? Is it just based on
what
you feel like?
Yeah, pretty much. Just like how good of a time was it, right?
What is an area that you think
hard to explain.
that sugar babies can improve in? Because I'm always asking myself that, right? Like I always say, okay, I need to make more of an effort to really be sexy and maybe wear like some really cute lingerie under my clothes. Or I love to talk and I'm such a sapiosexual that we'll get talking about fascinating topics, right? But sometimes I'm like, maybe I just need to shh and like just be more feminine and more not so.
Well, when you and I first met, that's kind of what drew me into you. I couldn't believe that the conversation that we were having and the depth that it was going. But then after a while, I'm kind of like, I've started to get a little antsy.
Right. See.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that about myself, that I need to like kind of catch those cues a little bit more and be a little more.
It's good for a while,
attentive.
but then it kind of needs to start moving some other direction.
Okay. Point taken.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm working on that, just so
Yeah.
you know. I'm actively,
Yeah.
consciously
But
working
you
on
did
that.
hook me in with the initial conversation.
A little bit of brains is good,
Sure. Yeah.
But- but don't go to boring.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Get the party started.
So it's kind of like they say about when you're giving a speech, it's kind of like a woman's skirt. Make it long enough to cover the subject, but short enough to keep it interesting.
I'm going to remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So you should treat your
Taking
conversations long enough to cover the subject, but short enough to keep it interesting.
Okay. So,
Okay.
but that's what I'm working on, like ways
Right.
that I can become, because it's not always about the men, right? I'm working on ways that I can become a better sugar baby and make sure the people that I choose to be with are really very happy and satisfied. So what is it that you look for that would accomplish that for you?
There's no one thing for every sugar baby. I'll tell you what I encounter a lot, and I encountered this recently. I met somebody, we'd been talking for like a couple weeks, and we finally met. And we sat there for an hour, and she talked the entire time. Never asked me one single question. Just talk the entire time. And after...
And that wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you.
Could have been.
But after a while, like, so we were done and I walked her to her car and said, yeah, let's keep in touch or whatever. But I was thinking, she knows nothing about me. And not that she needs to know a lot about me, but it would have been nice to have a more balanced conversation. A couple years ago, same type thing. I met somebody and she was in sales, oddly enough. And we had sushi and then we went over to like Dave & Buster's and sat at the bar. And literally she talked for 2 hours and never stopped and never asked me a single question about myself for 2 hours. Now we ended up having a pretty amazing night because we both got really drunk and
That helps, right?
Yeah. But the next time I talked to her, I messaged her. I go, hey, I'd love to see you again. I mean, the sex was amazing. Like we really bonded on that part. But you talked for 2 hours straight, and I really prefer something that's a little more balanced. And she's like, yeah, I know. My friends tell me I talk a lot, and I need to like actually ask questions and listen sometimes. And she goes, I've been working on that, but thanks for letting me know. And she was actually really appreciative that I brought up to her. And you know what happened when we went out the next time?
She talked about herself for 2 hours?
No.
Oh, how did it
She
go?
looked right at me and started asking me questions.
See, isn't that brilliant when you
I couldn't
communicate?
believe it. Yeah,
good.
It was so good. And
Yeah.
we had an amazing second date.
Good.
It was so much better.
Yeah.
And it just felt so much more balanced.
Yeah.
And I almost felt like a little bad about scolding her on that. But that's what I needed. Like, I don't want to sit here and have the conversation revolve around me, but it can't be so one-sided.
So the one thing I am running into, and it's not that it's a problem, I've just heard it a few times, like from the men that I see, is that for me, I don't necessarily like want to go out to dinner, and I don't really want to. I want to chat a little bit, but like I'm like, lay down and let me fuck you, and like, and I'm
Wait,
serious.
that's what you tell the guy?
Yeah, I mean that's because like by the time I get
Nice.
there, like I'm horny. I want to have
Right,
sex,
right.
and like if I'm going to have sex, I'm going to come. I'm not going to fake it. I'm not going to like. So I am going to. I'm going to do it. It needs to be done, and I tend to be a little bit more. No, I not always. I mean, I can be. Obviously, there's reciprocation in different things, but I apparently. I mean, I go in to get the job done.
Right.
I like to be on top a lot.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I didn't realize that that it's just, I've heard like a few comments, like one of my people I see, he mentioned, he's like, you don't really like just the slow rhythmic, like sex. He's like, you just like to fuck. And I'm like, do I? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. You're right. And I didn't really like think too much about that. It's just, if it feels good, I want more of it.
Right.
I go after it.
Well, and it's like I tell some of the people that I meet, I'll kind of point on this direction. I want a good balance. Like maybe on the left side, I want a good balance of great conversation and dinners and concerts and fun nights out. And then on this side, I definitely enjoy the bedroom fun, and I need that balance. Some days it's going to be heavier on this side. Some days it's going to be heavier on this side. Yeah. Just kind of depending on where we're at, what kind of time we have, what's going on in our lives. Sometimes there is. I would just love, hey, come over, let's have some sex. Let's just get out our frustrations and have a good time.
So fun.
But then there's other times so it's like, but then I just hate it. Like when they come over, we have sex, and they're gone. Bam. I'm like, wait a minute, I need the aftercare. I need some cuddling. I need, right? Let's talk a little bit.
I feel like I'm good at that. A little bit.
Yeah.
And I do have like a few people that like we do, like I have one person that will like book a day resort for us, and we'll just hang out by the pool, and we'll grab something to eat, and we'll, have drinks by the pool and go back. And I love that. I guess maybe it just hasn't been offered to me a lot. I guess with the men that I've seen, they tend to be really busy businessmen and or married or this or that, and they just don't really have that space of time or the availability to do it. It's not something I'm against. I think I'm just now starting to figure out that that's something I'm possibly interested in. I think when I first started living the sugar baby lifestyle, I was trying so hard to grow my business, and like the financial increase to help me do that was kind of more of my focus, not so much the relationships or the softer side of SA, which is like the gifts and the vacations and things. But now I have a little bit more leeway in life. So those things are sounding like, wow, it'd be nice to just go and feel like this person is taking me out to dinner and being romantic or this or that.
One thing that a lot of sex workers say is prostitutes.
Is that what I am now?
Well,
am I a sex worker? No, I'm just kidding.
Sex work is such a broad spectrum that
I'm definitely
it's all
in the sex
incorporating.
industry, right?
Yeah.
So,
but like even like on the far side of the prostitutes, they'll say sometimes they'll just go over and the men just want somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Like they don't even have sex; they just want somebody to talk to, or they'll sit there and talk to them for 30 or 40 minutes. And then the sex lasts like 5 or 10, and that's it. But they just really, sometimes men just really need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of very lonely men out there.
That's true. That's really true. And I think that I'm starting to kind of see that softer side of this business, if you would, and it looks nice. Like I'm not opposed to it. It's just not how I started off, and it's such that's why people love the podcast, right? Because it's such a learning experience. Like they get to learn so much from other people's experiences. So, it's just part of the learning process and it goes back to kind of where we started was, being afraid to ask for what you want or talk about like the terms of the arrangement. Like sometimes, you don't want to, you feel like you're asking them to overextend themselves, I guess.
Well, in my profile, I kind of make it clear that I am looking for a balance because when I first got on the site, before I even met anybody, I'm messaging people and somebody's like, yeah, it's this much and can we just skip the dinner? And I'm like, wait a minute.
I feel like I got into that rut though.
Yeah.
I feel like it was really easy to kind of start to get into that rut because I don't even want to call it a rut. It just worked for a while because I was busy. It was a lot less complicated. It was very black and white, cut and dry, right? But now I think that I'm starting to feel like almost kind of a sense of emptiness from those types of arrangements and wanting a little bit more like in depth, a little more quality.
I mean, it serves a time and a place, but most guys on there are looking for a girlfriend experience.
Right. But what is that? So tell me what that means. I need to know. Teach me.
Girlfriend experience is
Marcus,
amazing. Yeah.
Teach me the girlfriend experience.
The girlfriend experience is basically you are hiring somebody to be your girlfriend without all the drama and expectations of having a girlfriend. We can go out, we can talk, we can do things, we can have sex, we can enjoy each other's company, but I don't have to have that drama of I have to text you at 6 a.m. good morning every morning, or you're going to be upset with me, or the drama that comes with a relationship when all of a sudden things aren't meshing right, and now you're fighting over things that you wouldn't fight over in an arrangement because, all right, we're not getting married. We're not actually girlfriend and boyfriend, and we don't have to live up to these expectations. We can just enjoy our company, enjoy these dates, enjoy our time together. Let's just have a girlfriend experience without all the drama of a relationship.
So I should put that in my profile.
I'll tell you what.
The entire girlfriend experience.
You would get more messages than you could handle.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
Absolutely.
You'll have to have me back on the show.
You're coming back.
I'm going to go on my profile, and I'm going to rewrite parts of it to do that because I want to test this and see how the men respond.
I'm telling you.
That's something we can do once in a while.
Yeah.
If we have a question and we just don't have the answer to it, we'll just try it, right? And see how it goes. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to change my profile to include, I might text you and ask you for
I'm
some
actually,
advice.
This is going to be a fun experiment. I'm excited to see the outcome.
And we'll see. And it may bring more of what I'm looking for me personally to the table. So this could be a really good experience.
Right.
Or I could meet some really psycho, crazy, clingy guys and it could be horrible. But we're going to find out.
Well, that's a complaint of many of the sugar babies that I meet. I'm like, well, how's it going on the site? What's your experience been? And they're finding that guys are falling in love with them very quickly. And they're wanting this hardcore relationship with them, a lot of them, from the very beginning. And they're just like, whoa, I thought we were on an arrangement site.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I went so far to just more of the sexual side of things for a while. Because coming out of my marriage and being single and not looking for that type of attachment, I really wanted to be strongly independent, in an almost prideful way, right? So I was just like, no, I don't need anything from you. We just have this arrangement. And I think now I'm kind of starting to want to see what the other flip side of that is and get a little bit more personally involved, in my arrangements,
Yeah.
See where they can go. So,
I'll tell you what, this is all the time we have for today. I want to thank Angie for filling in today. Been a great co-host. Yeah. You're definitely coming back. I want to hear how this experiment goes. And guys and gals, if you have any suggestions for us, anything that works for you, things that don't work for you, I'd love to hear it. Go to our website at secretsofasugardaddy.com. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. We got them all. But we'd love to hear your feedback and comments. I'm telling you, last time she came on the show, you guys really responded, and I have a feeling you will again. And, hey, if you want to be on the show, we'd love to have you. We can send you a Zoom link. You don't have to be here in person. We can do it over the phone. There's lots of ways. And tell us your story. Tell us what works, what doesn't, maybe things that you want us to talk about on the show. We're always looking for good ideas. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.